In today's video, we are going to open up one of my latest deliveries, see what it is, and talk about it. Let's get it. So welcome back to the Rum Room again, guys. And like I say, today we've got a box to open, latest delivery. Want to see what we got, and talk to you guys about it, and I want a little bit of discussion about where they're from, because I think they're doing some amazing rums right now, and they seem to be going a little bit under the radar. Not a great deal of discussion about them, so thought I'd show you what I've ordered, talk about it, and see how it goes. Here it is, guys. Pretty big box, fragile, handle with care. That's what I like to see. A box with a little bit of care taken with the packaging. Right. Right, so as you can see here, guys, we've got two bottles on the table, and they are both from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. Am I out of focus? Maybe they're not the best place to have them on there. Stick them down here, talk about them one by one. So, first of all, these guys are predominantly a whisky bottler. They just do single casks, and they bottle all sorts of things now, but they have always and historically done whiskies which have now expanded into other spirits, and that includes rum. So naturally I was drawn to the section of rum that they do. They have some pretty good stuff. I've had quite a lot of bottles from them now, 6, 7 bottles from them. I've been pretty impressed with all of them. On one hand, they have a hell of a lot of information about their rums, and you can't knock them for trying their best with the amount of information on the bottle. There's an element of it which I don't like, which they keep some information back, and I wish that they really kind of had all the information and everything in between on the bottle. So I'm going to read through the label so you can see what information they cover. I'll also put up some pictures. And basically this is a Jamaican rum, so this is pushing the frontiers of funk. They have some crazy names, these guys, and sometimes you kind of go, what the hell are you on about? So the description on these tasting notes, and they're almost like a poem, the way they lay out their little blurb. So this is a firecracker fusillade of funk, espresso dregs, gardenia blooms, sugarcane, stewed prunes, germaline, now varnish, and golf ball innards. So that is like, what the hell are you talking about? Sometimes I've been able to relate to their little blurbs, other times I'm just like, have you written this just because it sounds good? Which sometimes is a bit frustrating. So this is, like I say, single cask, 7-year-old, 66.9%, distilled 1st of June 2013, region Jamaica, cask, second fill, ex-bourbon barrel. So the way they kind of identify what cask and what distillery it is, they never label distilleries on the bottles of any of their bottlings. They like to believe that you shouldn't know where it's from, so you don't get a kind of a false hope or a preconception of what the rum may taste like or what it should taste like, which I think is good. I believe in that. I think that's a great idea. But sometimes you just want to know what's what and you want to get the details quickly. But I can get it. I get it. So I can kind of give them their due there. So the way they number them is this is cask R11.11, and that refers to R11. So R means rum. Very simple. 11 means distillery number 11. And 0.11 refers to the bottling 11. So this is currently rum from distillery number 11, bottling number 11. So the outrun is this is bottle 1 or 1 of 259. So yeah, that's pretty much all the information you get on here. On the back is just their generic kind of back of bottle label. And yeah, I think they're pretty cool. So we're going to open these today, have a little go, see what we think of them. As it stands, 7-year-old, I think, I'm going to check, I'm pretty sure R11 was Worthy Park? Hamden. Let me check. Right, yes, this is Worthy Park. So, the 11th release of Worthy Park that Scotch Malt Whisky Society have done. Just quickly, actually, let's go back to the kind of initial Scotch Malt Whisky Society, SMWS. These guys are a club. They're a kind of bottling club. It's a really cool idea. It started back in the 70s or 80s, I think it was, and you pay a membership fee, £60 a year, to be part of the club. Once you're part of the club, you can buy their bottles. If you're not part of the club, you can't buy the bottles. I guess what it is the membership fees, putting money towards the idea of sourcing casks, storing casks, and just kind of growing the category, or growing the kind of, well, essentially it's growing the business, but growing what they're doing. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it kind of keeps things a little bit more in-house, stops things from kind of just going crazy, selling out. But at the minute, I think rums are quite available on there, but I don't believe that the whiskies are quite the same. So that is our first bottle from this box. So our second one, another SMWS, Scotch Malt Whisky Society. This is a bit more expensive. Talk about prices. That bottle was roughly £60, £63 maybe. You've got to obviously take into account the fee you pay to join the membership, but that is, forget that for a minute, that is about £60, so goodbye. This is a Guyanese rum, so this is R2, which is rum distillery number 2, which is DDL, so Diamond Distillery, still open in Guyana, and this is bottle 15, or release from this distillery 15. So I've done 15 Diamond Distillery bottlings. This is number 15, outrun of 180 bottles, and it's called Charismatic Funk. I originally thought when I saw this it was called Christmas Funk, and I thought surely they would save that for December to release a rum called Christmas Funk. But it's called Charismatic Funk. If you like your rum funky, fruity, playfully dirty, steady, and full of sun-drenched seashore flotsam, then this will float and tickle your boat. So, flotsam, that's an interesting word to use in a rum tasting notes description. 58.8%, another nice overproof single cask 17-year-old rum. So yeah, let's crack these two bad boys open. I'm going to start off with the Jamaican and see how we go. Just quickly actually, what do I expect from these? So this is pushing the frontiers of funk. So I'm going to expect a bit of Jamaican funk, naturally. Firecracker fusillade of funk, espresso dregs, gardenia blooms, sugarcane, stewed prunes, germaline. So this is kind of like, oh, there's a lot going on there. Bit floral, kind of dark fruits, germaline nail varnish and golf ball innards. That to me says maybe like a little bit of a plasticky, kind of rubbery, kind of maybe a bit oily, solventy kind of vibe. Firecracker, it's all over the place. You can't. It's hard to understand what they're trying to get out of that, but let's give it a go. Let me get rid of that. That to me has a great, and again, very much a Worthy Park kind of nose. Let me get a bit of this down me. Beautiful. Oh, so colour on that is minimal. Very, very pale. Well, to be fair, Worthy Park is quite often pale. Again, this is what I was saying earlier about there's a few things I don't like. They don't always state the distillery, which sometimes I find a bit frustrating to have to roll through the internet trying to find what distillery it is. Also, they don't state about the aging process because it is primarily a Scotch whisky club. They don't really talk about or think about tropical aging. So to them, it's almost, whether it's even a thing, I don't know. To them, I don't know if it's even something they think about, talk about. So what I'd like to know is how much of this cask has been aged in the tropics, how much has been aged continentally. And typically a lot of these casks, they buy them and bring them to their own aging houses that they have. So they almost, all of these bottlings will have some form of continental age. They won't be tropically aged 100%. I don't think you're going to get any of them like that because they just wouldn't do that. They are set up to age their own spirits, and let's face it, they're not going to pay to store them in the tropics when they could store them in Scotland. That is what I believe they're doing. Again, if anyone knows different, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is as far as I'm aware how it works. If anybody from Scotch Malt Whisky Society is watching this, a little tip from me, they should add how many tropically aged years there are onto the label. So where it says, for instance, 17 years, if it's aged for 10 years, below that, just put 10 years tropically aged. It'd be well received, let me tell you. Thanks, guys. Resume the video. A bit of coconut. It's like a buttery coconut kind of fruitiness there. Tell you what, that nose is very, very enticing. I'm very much enjoying that. That is Good. All smells good. Real good. That's a bit different for a Worthy Park. That isn't what I would kind of expect a Worthy Park to be like exactly. That does not taste like 66%, was it? 66.9, that is strong. I'm not getting that strength from that. That is very, very easy. Quite viscous, kind of bit of a silky mouthfeel to it. For a 7-year-old rum that I'm sure has at least 2 or 3 years continentally aging going on with it. That is very, very long. It's a butteriness, it's just so moreish. It's not your typical kind of fruity, ripe fruit vibe of Jamaica, and that you quite often get with Worthy Park. You quite often get like a banana, mango vibe going on with a lot of Jamaican rums, and certainly the Worthy Parks. Even some pineapple, but I'm not getting any of that fruit on this. It's not a fruity rum. I'd say it's quite kind of buttery, kind of butterscotch almost, with a kind of bit of brininess to it. The nose has definitely got kind of that kind of cleaning fluid kind of vibe to it, which I'd say the palate is far better than the nose on this for me. And yeah, you kind of late on get that kind of, I can see the germaline kind of moment. There's like a real late on in the palate, there's like a little germaline kind of thing going on, which it's not unpleasant. I've got it before from other rums. Can't say I've had that before in a Worthy Park, mind you. But yeah, you know what? £60, £62, whatever it was, a seriously good number that you should consider for that sort of money. There's good rums out there, and again, Worthy Park, their standard bottling is £45 roughly. So this is a bit more than standard Worthy Park. I think a standard Worthy Park is 45%. Again, I'll check that. And this is 66, so it's a much stronger alcohol. I think that is a good buy, 7-year-old, single cask, tasty, a bit different, gives you lots of flavour. It's nice the fact it's not a real stereotypical Worthy Park, so it kind of brings something a little bit different. But yeah, really, really happy with that. Great little purchase. Get yourself involved in the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. Now, let me take a minute. I'm going to enjoy this. Let's not rush this. Oh no, guys. The best things that we do in our life, we don't want to rush them. More often than not we do, but we don't want to. Or should I say we try not to. I would never think that was 66. And breathe. Loving that. Right, next one, ladies and gentlemen. We have our Guyanese. If this is the first time you watch one of my videos, then you may not know, but I love Guyanese rum. I love that kind of dark, heavy, rich, kind of dirty rums, and that is exactly what Guyanese gives you. R2, again, said earlier, R2 is the Diamond Distillery, DDL's Diamond Distillery, the last remaining distillery of Guyana. Release 15 from that distillery through Scotch Malt Whisky Society, 180 bottles, Guyanese rum, Christmas funk. I'm going to call it for Christmas funk. It's actually charismatic funk. Let's call it Christmas funk, I like it. Or maybe Christmas funk makes you think of like cinnamon and cloves. Maybe that's not a good idea. Christmas funk. If you like your rum funky, fruity, playfully dirty, full of sun-drenched, seashore, flotsam, then this will float and tickle your boat. Tickle my boat. 58.8%. Right, let's get this bloody thing open. Stop reading the flipping label. I don't buy rums to read the label. I buy books to read labels. Well, I buy books to read, is what I meant. So, get her off. Ooh, not much there. It's a bit of that kind of grimy kind of Guyanese kind of vibe. Not much from the bottle though, but that's not uncommon. Bloody hell, that is pale. This again is going to be quite heavily continentally aged, I believe. Let's get a bit more in there. Okay, let's go again. To me, that is super pale. Not sure how well you can see that, guys, but that is super duper pale for Guyanese rum. Super pale. So, quite continentally aged. Tell you what, so far that is quite disappointing. That nose is not great. Give that a minute. Let's do something else for a little while. Let me read my phone. Come back to it. Give it some time. Like I say, guys, never rush your rums. Sometimes these things need a bit of time. So that's what I'm going to do. Give it some time. Right, before it evaporates and before I fall asleep. See what it says. Yeah, right, that's completely different. So that was, what would we give that? A few hours? No, I'm joking. We gave it, I don't know, all that took was about 3 or 4 minutes. Had a moment out, and that has come alive now. So yeah, loads are going on there. Again, it's nothing special. I've had some Guyanese from the Scotch Malt Whisky Society before, and that isn't a great deal different. It's very, very reminiscent of the Caribbean crab cakes, which, here it is. This one's unopened. I've got one open as well. So this is R214. That's R215. So Caribbean crab cakes is the release from before. And you know what? It's also 17 years old. Oh, come on. So distilled on the same day, they're within 1% of each other. The difference is the final cast was second fill heavy char barrel on the charismatic Christmas funk, and it was second fill French oak barrique on the Caribbean crab cakes. So I hadn't realised, but these are basically the same distillate, probably aged in the same first barrel. So my guess is they had some tropical aging in the bourbon barrel. I think they've had some continental aging in the bourbon barrel, and then I think they had kind of a final second maturation in different casks. So I'm pretty sure these are the same kind of liquid, finished slightly differently. So that's why that nose. Tell you what, let's pour some out. Let me get another glass. Let's compare these bastards. Right, I'm back. So again, I've got a Caribbean crab cakes here, which was a bottle split from previous. So let's get this. I tell you what, look at the colour difference. That's interesting. Let me remind myself. So it's the barrique. That makes sense. The barrique. So a barrique is a small barrel. It's a, I don't know what if there's an official kind of size for it, but a barrique is a small barrel. That is the wrong bottle. The darker of the two is slightly stronger. Not that should make any difference whatsoever. By 0.6%, so let's call them the same. And the darker one is the barriques. That makes sense. So we've got, but then again, the lighter one is from a final heavy char barrel. The darker one is from a French oak barrique. So yeah, you'd think the char might have more of an effect than what it has. But obviously the smaller barrel being more surface area to liquid ratio, you end up getting more of a kind of a reaction in the barrel. So bigger barrels, more liquid, less surface area, less reaction. Smaller barrel, more surface area ratio to liquid, more reaction. So that's why you got the darker colour there. So yeah, interesting stuff. So let me read you the. I'm gonna call it a poem. I'm not sure it is quite a poem. It's a rubbish poem if it is a poem. For the Caribbean crab cakes, steamed malt loaf pudding with rum custard, spicy banana boat s'mores were diluted, complemented by crab cakes with candied sweet potato. I don't get any kind of fishy vibe or crabby vibe from this, so I question that. Maybe that's my palate not being good enough, or maybe it is just their words got carried away. Who knows? So they're more emphasising funk on the Christmas funk, obviously, and they're more emphasising a savoury kind of note on the Caribbean crab cakes. Yeah, I think, you know what, I don't think we get too hooked up on them because they talk about some crazy stuff, man. I have to line them up neatly. You guys will have to view them at their best. So let's go. You know what? I'm saying I don't get a fishy vibe from that. And right now I do. There is a slight... There is a kind of back note of like a salty kind of seawater. And maybe a little bit of a... I think there is a bit. I've never noticed that before. Maybe it's because I'm having it with this. Yeah, that is definitely fruitier. Oh, that is very different to that. A lot more burn on that. I do think there's a lot more burn on the Christmas funk. It is definitely fruitier. You've got more of a kind of papaya, kind of pineapple. Not banana. Maybe a bit of mango, but much fruitier on the Christmas funk. Still, again, going back to that nose is a slight salty I don't want to say fishy. I think fishy sounds like, no, like a slap in the face of the fish. I'm pretty sure that's not. Yeah, that is far more what I expect from a Guyanese rum. Far more woodier, kind of richer. See, that to me tastes like a Port Morant still. If you don't know what Port Morant still is, it's one of the most famous stills ever because of what it is. It's a wooden double pot still from Guyana, and it's like the real backbone of many, many rums. And on its own, it's not always that great, but it can be blended up amazingly, and it can be great on its own. Let's not get this wrong. It can be great on its own, but sometimes it can kind of. I've got a bottling at the minute. Actually, it's the SBS kind of. I'm sure it's Port Morant. Question myself now, but the SBS latest release, very expensive. It's about £400 a bottle, and I kind of tried it, and I just thought it is at its heart displaying everything about Port Morant. But I also kind of went, ugh. To me, it's when a single cask should actually, not saying it shouldn't be a single cask, because I love to experiment with flavours with single casks, but I sometimes just think that for me is when a single cask isn't always its best for being a single cask. It could be better for being blended, and that's not taken away from what Port Morant is. It's just saying you're better blended with someone else. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that is like I say, that is more of a Port Morant kind of vibe rum. It's interesting because they're the same distillate, but then again, still in the same day. It could be different stills. Could be different stills. Don't know if they are, but they could be. On the right day, I could. Actually, no. No. What am I talking about? I was about to say on the right day I could believe that's Jamaican because of how funky it is, but no, that is different to a Jamaican funk. Jamaican funk has that kind of mushy pineapple, kind of a bit super sweet, kind of not rotting, but super sweet, overripe pineapple. That's not got that. So that has got like more like overripe raisins, if that's even a thing, like slightly fermented prunes, like a pruny, jammy kind of vibe. Prune jam. I'm going to call it Guyanese jam. Right, which one do I prefer? That is a great question. I'm not sure. I'm saying it like somebody asked me. Nobody asked me. I asked myself. I'm speaking it out like somebody asked me. So, what's your favourite, Darren? Well, you know, let me tell you about my favourite. Let me try a bit of this again. They are very different. This has got the barrique, the second fill barrique, which is Caribbean crab cakes, has got a bit of fire behind it. It's got a bit of heat. It's got a bit of kind of intensity from a woody kind of burn, which is very nice. And that is naturally going to be from a smaller barrel or a barrique. And I'd say it's more one-dimensional than the other one. Again, let me try it again. Go on this one. The old Christmas funk. I can imagine Christmas funk like Father Christmas, Santa Claus, like breakdancing. That is Christmas funk to me. Go on, Santa! So this has that heat, that fire, that burn, but it's a different. That is very much woody, kind of low down, kind of very expectant. Is that a word? Expectant? Unsurprising. That's a good word actually. Unsurprising of what you get and what you're getting from a Guyanese rum. This gives you more of a shock, and you kind of go, "Ooh, is that Guyanese?" I do like that. I couldn't pick a favourite out of them two. They're almost as good as each other, but I like them. Let's finish this off. Oh, finish this one off. Oh, that's good. Here's something for you. A friend of mine texted me actually after watching one of his videos. He said, "Why do you keep... Who's outside my house? Get off my land!" Sorry about that. So a friend of mine texted me after one of my videos. He said, "I saw you were kind of sucking on the rum. Little suck through. Little rum suck." Sounds weird. Rum suck. Let's just leave that there. Anyway. Right guys. I think that is going to be the end of this video. Let's clear these off. I feel like they're overloading my beautiful face with beautiful bottles. So, the reason I started this channel, by the way, was because I felt like there wasn't enough rum content out on YouTube, and I just thought, you can find millions of whiskey videos, and there are not many rum videos. So some of the stuff it's a lot American based, nothing wrong with Americans, but you know, it's nice to hear a local voice at times. So I wanted to make a channel based around rum, and I didn't realise how intense it was going to be and how much kind of involvement there is in making these videos. So what I will say, if you've enjoyed anything you've seen today, if you've had a little smile, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, got a bit of facts you didn't know about, anything positive from this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks again. It's been great having you in the Rum Room again. There most definitely will be a next time, so don't worry about that. So until next time, hang on. I can't say goodbye without a bloody rum in my hand, can I? Let's go for the old pushing the frontiers of funk. I feel like I could be a superhero, like a Marvel superhero. Which one was it? It was that one, wasn't it? Always keep your glass relevant to your rum. It's been great to have you here. Until next time, peace out.